All right, so welcome everybody. We are going to be doing the Vincent van Gogh landscape sketchbook. I'm going to show you guys an image here, and I know this is not going to show as clearly or easily because of the light and glare and so forth, but what you want to Google is Vincent van Gogh drawing landscape. You're going to see a series of his drawings, and just to show you a little bit up close, again, I know the light is hitting that slightly, but you can kind of see how he has a lot of line work. So you have a lot of texture built up. Now this could be done with markers, ink and wash. We're going to use pen for this piece. So again, you can just Google Vincent van Gogh landscape drawings. This is from Pinterest, but there's a lot of different examples of how he took the natural organic landscape and he interpreted that through line. Okay, so for my piece, what I'm going to be doing is I'm going to be doing this one. And what I did is I already made a soft image. You always want to start, as I mentioned before, with graphite and a kneaded eraser. So you can just draw out the shape and form and then lightly tap on that to, again, erase most of the image, just because we know pen is permanent, right? Now, I told you guys at the start of this semester, you can use any pen. It does not need to be a certain kind. So, for example, this is a number 2 gel pencil. A Pilot is the brand. And here's my little scratch paper, but you see how I have some nice rich sort of gel tones to it. Then here's the ballpoint pen, and you can tell that it has a little bit lighter quality to it. Also hand control, by lighting it a lot, it gives a sense of lightness. So let's think back with our first sketchbook homework when we had to do our value scale. The lines that are further away or dots further away is going to appear lighter. The lines that are darker closer together will appear that it's darker. So this is the fun part. We can do cross-hatching, hatching, stippling, squiggly lines, any sort of organic or geometric form to kind of create these textures. So I recommend using your own photograph for a landscape. If you do not have a photograph that you want to work from home, then please look at unsplash.com. Remember, that's a copy-free website, and you can find some interesting shots there too. Okay, also too, if you do not have a pen, you can use Sharpie if you'd like. Sharpie does get very thick quality lines. It can be a little bit flat looking, so just make sure you have the twin tip, meaning that you can do lighter values too. So this, by having different gauges of the pens, a little bit thicker and thinner, this can also help. These are microns, they're different numbers. So one is a number 5. I get a little bit more darkness line in it. Then if I go with a number 3, it's a little bit thinner and lighter line. So many choices you could do. I'm going to be doing a mixture of these Precision 5 pens. Also, this is a Pentel. And this is, again, is that Pilot number 2. So you'll see what works. You don't have to use several different pens. Again, you can just use one and it can go really far. So this is the fun part I get to make up. Again, if you do have different gauges, think about the lighter gauges are going to be where the light sources are, or think of atmospheric perspective. Do you guys remember anything further away is going to be more less distinct, maybe softer to the eye, a little blurrier, lighter in its value tones? So if you have a mountain landscape, say something further away that has distance to it, you can just have a lighter hand pressure or actually use a lighter pen to give that illusion. So anything in the foreground you can make a little bit darker. I'm going to go ahead and start with this tree, not this tree. I'll start with this lamp. So I'm going to just go ahead and make up my own form. Right now I'm going to just do hatching lines. Then I'm going to change the shape of them. Again, you have a lot of freedom in this. Please, again, Google Vincent van Gogh landscape drawings and you get to kind of see the overall sense of what he is doing. Okay, then I'm going to start my tree. And I'm going to continue with straight, small little hatchy lines to kind of give a sense of bark. Be conscious of the light source. So it is an afternoon day, the light is hitting on the side. So I'm going to make this a little bit darker. And I can go ahead and even do cross hatching. There's no wrong or right way to approach this. This has a lot of freedom, again, where you're just experimenting with different types of lines. I'm getting the branches in now, keeping the lines hatching. Again, when they're further away, the lines that are further away is going to give a sense of lighter value. When they're closer, it'll give a sense of darkness. And then there's portions where you only see little bits of the branches because the foliage is covering that up. There's a second tree too. Same thing, it's dark on one side. And if you could see, I'm kind of bouncing back and forth. So just go with what works for you as you're building these values. This is a really fun exercise because it takes us away almost out of the sense of working representational. This is still representational piece, but we're kind of abstracting the lines and the shapes. Okay, so again, I'm trying to get all the branches in. Next, I'm going to go ahead and now do the leaves. Now this is a pine tree. It's not as recognizable from a distance, but I'm just going to go ahead and make little lines. I could even do little squiggle lines. So what I'm doing, I know this is small scale, but I'm making straight lines first, and then I could always go over with like squiggle lines. So kind of this chaotic scribble, and then there's some control with the straightness. This will also take us into working with landscapes and drawing trees. Remember, when you work with trees, you never want to draw every single leaf, because in reality, we will not see every single leaf on a tree. Now, I'm just going to pick up the lights and darks in this particular tree. Think about too, the tree could have clumps, meaning that when it has a lot of foliage on it, look at the lights and darks, especially if it's a daytime that you're taking the photo. And that's going to help bring it to life a little more. Now this is similar to stippling, and I know a lot of you guys, some favored it, some did not. It's really important that you do take breaks with your hand, so allow your hand to stretch if necessary. And I'm losing my branches slightly as I build up the value, so I'm just bringing them back slightly with darker tones. My tree goes off my picture plane. Also, this particular homework assignment is going to be smaller just because it takes a lot of time to build up this value. So this is going to be a 5 by 7. So 5 by 7 inch art piece, okay? You want to measure too, if you notice how I measured. This is a, let me just turn this over really quick to the back side to you guys. So I know this is small chicken scratch, but this is a 9 by 12 art piece, meaning the full sheet of paper. And I want a 5 by 7 inch border. So I went ahead and drew out this information just to show you guys. But what I want to do is I want to have it even within my piece, my sheet of paper. So I'm going to go ahead and divide it by 2, right? So that it's even that way. And if you measure differently, that's fine. You just want to make sure you do have it in the center. So let's go ahead and take the long side of our piece I guess you could say the height more. This is 9 inches, right? 9 inches. And then if I'm going to go ahead and I want to have it to be 5 by 7 on the inside, so here's 5, here's 7, and this is my artwork. What I can do is take the 9 and the 5 and subtract it. It's going to be 4. Then since I want to have it even on both sides, I'm going to take now my 4 and divide it by 2, and then that's going to equal 2. So I have a 2-inch border going the lengthways. So 2 inches on both sides. Then what I'm going to do is now take the actual, make this a little bit bigger here. So here is my art. Again, this will be a 2-inch border here. This is the 9-inch side. Now the other side is going to be 12 inches, right? And I'm going to now divide that in half because I want this to be a 7-inch border. So what I'll do is I will now subtract 12 subtract 7, which is going to equal 5. Now I want to divide the 5 by 2 because again I want to even on both sides, and that will make me 2.5. So going back to our art piece now, if you notice the measurements, I have 2 inches here in the lengthwise. This is the 5 portion. The opposite side, which is 12 inches, I have 2.5. So here's 2.5, 2.5, and here's my 7 inches on the inside. Okay. All right, so going back to our drawing, I know we took a quick little break there. Continuing to add value. You can also, again, experiment with other ones. This is more of a ballpoint pen, so I can get a little bit more lightness into it, and you may not be able to see it very well. The camera might not pick it up, but it now allowed me, almost like an H pencil, it allowed me to get more lighter tones as I keep building up. Because this is so light, I can work a lot with it. I'm doing even a diagonal sort of angle to it. Could even color it in on this side. But let's go back to working with that gel pen. I will continue to work on refining this tree. For sake of time, I'm going to go ahead and push over now to the ground plane. And there's still more that I have to build up. This is actually grass over here. So grass, you can do so many different options. It is a sunny day, so there's not a lot of shade, except for there is a shadow here, which is really going to give dimension to this tree. So what I'm going to do is stippling. Yay for stippling. And as I work with stippling, I'm going to first go ahead and put my lines close together to give the illusion of a shadow. The shadow is very organic and irregular since it's reflecting a tree. I can even make little circular shapes a little bit bigger just to make definition more. This is again a time to experiment and have fun. Please don't think there is a specific formula or just what I'm doing you do not need to do. Again, experiment with different types of shapes with your application of your medium. Again, squiggle lines, angles, shapes, straight lines, form, dots. Just try out to see what you think is interesting. Also beware of the shadow. The shadow is going to get lighter as it gets further away. It's darker as it's more to the base of the tree. Okay, so I'm going to continue on this piece and then I will show you guys more of the finished product. Okay, so this is again Vincent van Gogh landscape, and you're using your ink for this one. So pen, ballpoint pen, gel pen, something along those lines. And you want to keep it the same color, so either go with black as this one is, or you could go with blue. Okay, thank you.